My name is Susanne Burgess. I'm 34 years old. The chandeliers of Meridian Estate glowed like captured stars above me, their light fractured across the marble floors. Each reflection was pristine, perfect, just like the kind of life my family thought I didn't deserve. My sister Victoria Hartwell followed a few steps behind her designer heels, clattering against the stone as if announcing royalty. Our mother Patricia trailed between us, clutching her handbag like it contained her moral superiority. "This is nice," I murmured, running my fingertips along the polished mahogany banister. Victoria laughed short and sharp. "Nice, Suzanne, this place costs 40,000 just to rent the ballroom. You make what, 35 grand a year. Be serious." I smiled faintly, the kind of smile that hides bruises no one can see. "I'm just looking." The wedding planner, Christine, appeared, with the kind of brightness only professionals in luxury sales could maintain. "Miss Suzanne, so wonderful to see you again. I've prepared the premium package details you asked for the terrace ceremony, the vintage wine collection, and full weekend access to the bridal suite." Mother's brows rose so high they nearly met her hairline. "Weekend, Suzanne, darling, that's completely out of your league." Victoria circled the ballroom like a predator that had found its prey. "You know what? This is actually perfect for me. Derek and I have been searching for an impressive venue for our engagement party." She turned to Christine. "Is October 15th available?" Christine hesitated. "That date is under review, but—" "We can afford it," Victoria interrupted, pulling out her sleek black card. "Put down a $50,000 deposit." Victoria Mother began, though her voice lacked conviction. "Oh, please," my sister said. "We all know Suzanne's just here to play pretend again. Remember the time she test drove a Tesla? Or toured that penthouse like she could actually buy it? It's embarrassing." My jaw tightened, but my voice stayed even. "If Victoria wants it, she can take it." Christine shifted uneasily. "Perhaps we can discuss this privately." "Miss Suzanne, you mentioned wanting December for your event." "Event," Victoria laughed. "She doesn't even have a boyfriend. What kind of event could she possibly be planning?" Mother sighed in mock sympathy. "She's always been imaginative. Maybe she's dreaming of a wedding to an invisible man this time." They laughed together. The sound echoed across the grand hall, shrill and hollow. I stared out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the garden beyond. The roses were in perfect bloom, vibrant, unapologetic. I'd been here before, not just the estate this exact moment. Years of being the quiet one. While they carved me down with their words little by little, I'd learned that silence disarms cruelty better than tears ever could. Christine's phone buzzed. "Excuse me one moment," she said, stepping away toward the terrace. Victoria turned back to Mother, snapping photos. "Derek's going to love this. Marble everything. Real baccarat crystal chandeliers. Probably worth more than Suzanne's car." Mother chuckled. "When is Derek proposing again?" "Next month, in Paris. Custom Tiffany ring. 3 carats flawless diamond." Victoria said proudly, her voice swelling with self-satisfaction. "Some of us don't need to pretend." I turned back toward them. "You seem happy, Victoria." "Of course I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be?" she said. "Not all of us waste our lives working for pennies." Her words landed like pebbles, small but steady, always hitting the same place. Christine re-entered, her face slightly pale. "Victoria, about that deposit." "Yes, is 50 not enough?" "It's not about the amount," Christine said carefully. "There's been a complication with your booking." "A complication?" Victoria's tone sharpened. "You're refusing my payment. Do you even know who my fiancé is?" Victoria Mother said, slipping into her lawyer voice. "You need to provide a valid reason for this refusal, or we'll take this to management." Christine looked uneasy. "I just received instructions from the property owner. The booking under your name cannot proceed." The room went still. "Excuse me," Victoria asked, her voice rising. "That's absurd. I'm literally offering you $75,000. Christine's phone buzzed again. She stepped aside to answer, whispering rapidly. Mother frowned at her own phone, reading a text. "That's odd. The boutique where I ordered your birthday gift just canceled my order." What Victoria said already scrolling through her screen. "Wait, my spa appointment for tomorrow. Canceled. And my gym membership." Christine came back, her expression even more strained. I'm so sorry, but I'll need you all to gather your belongings." Mother froze. "What do you mean, gather our belongings?" "The owner has requested your immediate departure." Victoria's face darkened. "The owner. Who even is this mysterious owner? Get them on the phone right now." Christine's eyes flicked just for a second toward me, then back to Victoria. "I'm afraid the owner isn't available for direct contact." Victoria's voice cracked. "This is insane. We haven't done anything. A man in a dark suit entered quietly, the estate's head of security. Ladies, he said evenly, please come with me. Mother's voice turned cold. On what grounds are you removing us? The property owner's instructions, he replied. The words fell heavy in the silence that followed. I stayed by the window, hands folded, watching sunlight glint across the roses. Victoria whirled toward me, eyes narrowing. You did something. I know it. I met her gaze calm and unflinching. I haven't said a word. But my silence, it seemed, was louder than anything else in the room. The air inside Meridian Estate's ballroom had shifted charge, now electric. Even the chandeliers seemed to hum with tension. Victoria's voice sliced through the silence. You expect me to believe some mystery owner just randomly banned me from booking? That's ridiculous. Christine hesitated, fingers trembling slightly as she clutched her tablet. Ms. Hartwell, I understand how upsetting this must be, but I'm only following direct instructions from the property management office. Then get your manager, Victoria snapped. Better yet, get the owner on the line. Now. Victoria Mother began, her tone more warning than soothing. But Victoria ignored her. Do you have any idea who my fiancé is? Derek Morrison manages over $2 billion in assets. We are not the kind of people you can just turn away. Christine's professionalism began to falter. I assure you this has nothing to do with— Don't patronize me, Victoria interrupted, jabbing a manicured finger toward her. You think because Susanne here looks like a charity case we won't fight back. I'll sue this place if you don't explain what's going on. I stayed silent, but inside something deep and long frozen began to thaw. It wasn't anger, it was release. Watching Victoria flail, seeing her arrogance finally meet a wall she couldn't charm or bully her way through, it was almost poetic. Christine turned toward me, clearly hoping for help, but I only tilted my head slightly. Please, she said, voice shaking. Now, allow me to step outside and clarify the issue with management. Mother crossed her arms, her usual mask of control slipping. You do that, and make it quick. We're not leaving until this nonsense is sorted out. Christine nodded and hurried out of the ballroom. The doors closed behind her with a soft final click. Victoria let out a furious laugh. Unbelievable. This is exactly what happens when people don't understand their client's worth. Do you see what I mean, Mom? These service workers, no respect. Mother frowned, distracted by her buzzing phone. Hold on. My boutique account just sent me another message. Apparently my order history has been wiped. Victoria rolled her eyes. Glitch in the system. Don't worry. But her own phone buzzed, then, sharp and insistent. She glanced at the screen and froze. What now, Mother asked. It's Azure Spa, Victoria said slowly. They're refunding my membership, effective immediately. Mother blinked. Why would they— Wait! Victoria's voice grew shrill. They said the owner personally requested it. Mother's brows furrowed. The same owner as this estate. Victoria's throat bobbed as she swallowed. It has to be. The double doors opened again. Christine stepped back in her composure, barely holding together. Ms. Hartwell, she said carefully. I'm so sorry, but we do have to ask you and your mother to leave the property immediately. What Victoria barked. On what grounds? The property owner's orders, Christine said. Security has already been notified. This is insane. Victoria turned to me, fury burning behind her perfectly painted eyes. You're enjoying this, aren't you? You did something, didn't you? You called someone, you sabotaged my booking. I haven't made any calls, I said quietly. Her laugh was ugly now, high-pitched, desperate. Oh, please. What do you think this makes you look powerful? You think getting me embarrassed in public somehow makes you equal. I don't think about power, I replied evenly. At least not the way you do. Before she could respond, the doors opened again, and Michael, the head of security, entered. Tall, calm, dressed in black. His presence filled the room with quiet authority. Ms. Hartwell. Mrs. Hartwell, he said with a polite nod. I'll need you both to come with me. Mother straightened, trying to summon her lawyer's tone again. This is completely unacceptable. You can't remove paying customers without explanation. Michael's reply was steady. I'm only following the owner's instructions. Victoria's temper cracked. I don't care about your instructions. I'll call the press. I'll have your job. Michael didn't even flinch. Ma'am, please. Let's not make this more difficult than it needs to be. I watched as my sister, who had never faced a locked door in her life, found herself powerless for the first time. Christine Mother demanded, who even owns this place? We've hosted events all over the city, and I've never heard of an estate with such ridiculous policies. Christine hesitated again, her eyes flicking toward me for just a second before she looked away. I'm not authorized to disclose that information. Of course you're not, Victoria sneered. Some anonymous billionaire with a god complex, probably. The irony was almost too perfect. Her phone buzzed again. She snatched it up, her face twisting. No, no, this can't be real. What now, Mother snapped. They're closing my account at Rothmore Boutique, the same boutique you shop at, Mom. They said my profile's been flagged for permanent suspension. Mother's lips parted in disbelief. Flagged. For what reason? Christine's phone vibrated next. She frowned as she read the message. I'm getting similar notifications from other businesses connected luxury partners, spas, gyms, retail stores, all simultaneously flagging the same two names. Which names? Mother asked, voice trembling slightly. Christine swallowed. Victoria Hartwell and Patricia Hartwell. Silence fell again, this time heavier. Victoria laughed once brittle and hollow. This is insane. I'll call Derek. He'll fix this. He knows people. She dialed quickly, pacing the marble floor. Derek. It's me. You won't believe what's happening. Meridian Estate just refused our booking. And what do you mean they called you, Derek? Her voice faltered, then softer. They canceled your country club membership. Why no? They can't. The owner. What do you mean the owner? Her phone slipped slightly in her grip. She clutched it tight, eyes darting toward me. Susanne, she whispered. What the hell is going on? I didn't answer. Instead, I looked toward the garden again, the roses still flawless, still untouched by the storm unraveling inside. Christine's tablet pinged again. She looked down, then back up, her eyes wide now, almost stunned. Oh my God, she murmured. What Mother demanded. Christine took a slow breath, her voice trembling. I think I understand what's happening now. And for the first time that afternoon, she turned fully toward me. Miss Burgess, she said softly, her tone shifting from polite to reverent. I didn't realize. You were the Susanne Burgess. Victoria blinked, confused. The what? Christine lowered her voice, almost apologetic. The owner. The words hung in the air like thunder about to break. Victoria's phone slid from her hand and hit the marble with a sharp crack. The sound of Victoria's phone hitting the marble echoed through the ballroom, followed by a silence so thick I could almost hear her heartbeat falter. What? She whispered, her voice cracking. What did you just say? Christine's hands shook as she held her tablet to her chest. Miss Burgess owns Meridian Estate. In fact, she swallowed hard, eyes darting between us. She owns the entire Westmore portfolio, Azure Spa, Rothmore Boutique, Riverside Country Club, Elmwood Towers. All of them. Mother's face drained of color. That's impossible, she said quietly. Susanne works for a nonprofit. She doesn't own anything. Christine looked confused, as if she wished she could disappear. Mrs. Hartwell, Miss Burgess, founded the Westmore Foundation 6 years ago, the same foundation that manages over $200 million in assets. Victoria's voice sliced through her explanation. No, that's not true. She's poor. She lives in that shabby little apartment. She drives a Honda. I like that car, I said softly. Victoria turned toward me slowly, her expression a mix of confusion and rising panic. You mean, you're not joking? I met her eyes. Calm, steady. Decades of restraint condensed into one breath. I sold my software company 6 years ago. Paradigm Solutions. It was acquired for $840 million. The words fell between us like a detonation. Mother took a step back, clutching her bag as if it might shield her. 800 and... You can't be serious. I nodded once. After that, I started the Westmore Foundation. You know, the little nonprofit you love to mock. Victoria's lips parted, but no sound came out. Christine's tablet chimed again, drawing her attention. Miss Burgess, she said, voice shaking. I'm receiving multiple alerts from our partner system. It looks like all of your properties are flagging the same 2 client profiles for account termination. Whose profiles? Victoria demanded, though her tone carried the tremor of someone already knowing the answer. Christine hesitated. Victoria Hartwell and Patricia Hartwell. Mother's voice dropped to a whisper. Account termination. I turned to face them, finally stepping away from the window. Standing instructions, I said. Anyone who mocks, belittles, or attempts to exploit me or my employees loses access to every business I own. Effective immediately. Victoria let out a weak, disbelieving laugh. You're not serious. This is some kind of revenge fantasy. I don't believe in revenge, I replied quietly. Just boundaries. You can't do that, she snapped. You can't just ban us from everywhere. I can, I said, my tone even. And I have. Christine stared at me, torn between awe and discomfort. Miss Burgess, I didn't realize earlier who you were. I'm so sorry for the confusion. You have nothing to apologize for, I said gently. You treated me with professionalism. That's all that ever mattered. Victoria turned to Mother, desperate. Mom, say something. She can't just erase us like this. Mother's composure fractured. Susanne, this is absurd. We're family. You can't seriously mean to cut us off over a few harsh words. I tilted my head slightly. A few harsh words. Her voice faltered. We may have been critical sometimes, but that's what mothers and sisters do. You can't take everything so personally. Christine's tablet pinged again faster now, one notification after another. Miss Burgess, she said softly, the management system is confirming action across all holdings. Azure Spa, Rothmore Boutique, Riverside Country Club, Elmwood Towers, and a few others. All Hartwell accounts terminated, all deposits refunded. Victoria's breathing quickened. You own those places. And more, I said. 43 properties, 12 restaurants, 5 high-end gyms, and several residential towers. You've been lying to us, Mother hissed. All these years pretending to be broke, letting us treat you. Like what I interrupted. Like I wasn't worth respect until I had something to offer you. Her lips pressed together, but her silence was answer enough. Victoria's phone buzzed again on the marble floor, still cracked from the fall. She bent to pick it up with shaking hands. Her eyes widened as she read the screen. It's my landlord, she said hoarsely. They're saying my lease at Elmwood Towers won't be renewed. 60 days notice. Christine confirmed softly, that building belongs to Westmore Holdings. Victoria stared at me, horror blooming in her eyes. You own my building. Yes, you own everything, she shouted. The spa, the boutique, the gym. How long have you been planning this? I gave a faint smile, not cruel, but weary. I stopped planning the day I stopped needing your approval. Mother finally found her voice sharp and panicked. Susanne, honey, this is extreme. We can talk about this like adults. Don't let pride ruin your family. Family, I repeated quietly. You only remember that word when you need something. The room was utterly silent except for Christine's tablet still pinging, an electronic drumbeat marking the collapse of 2 lives. Victoria turned toward Christine, desperate. Reverse it. Whatever's happening, undo it. I can't, Christine said softly. The commands came directly from the owner's system, from Miss Burgess's account. Victoria's breath came out in short bursts. You're destroying us. No, I said, stepping closer to them for the first time. I'm just stepping out of the cage you built for me. For a long moment, no one spoke. The hum of the chandeliers filled the space. Finally, I looked at Christine. Thank you for your patience. Please proceed with the system instructions as usual. Christine nodded silently. Victoria's voice trembled as she whispered, I don't even know who you are anymore. I looked at her, and for the first time in years, I told the truth. I'm the woman you never saw, until today. Victoria stumbled back a step, her face pale beneath the ballroom lights. Her usual bravado was gone, replaced by something rawer, smaller. Fear. Susanne, she said, her voice breaking, please. We went too far, okay? We shouldn't have said those things. But this is too much. Christine stayed perfectly still, clutching her tablet like a lifeline. The estate's security chief, Michael, stood quietly by the door, watching. No one dared to speak above a whisper. I took a slow breath, my heels clicking softly against the marble as I approached my sister and mother. You humiliated me for years, I said evenly. In public, in private, every time I tried to tell you about something good in my life, you made it sound like a delusion. Mother shook her head quickly. That's not true, sweetheart. We just wanted you to be realistic. Realistic, I repeated, a quiet laugh, escaping before I could stop it. When I got into MIT, you said I was chasing a fantasy. When I started my company, you told me I'd fail because I didn't have business sense. When I sold it for nearly $1 billion, you said I must have just gotten lucky. Victoria's hands trembled. We didn't mean it like that. You meant every word I said, and you said them often enough that I believed you. Christine's tablet buzzed again. Miss Burgess, she said softly, I'm receiving final confirmation. All linked accounts, terminated, all deposits refunded. The process is complete. Thank you, I replied without taking my eyes off my family. Mother stepped forward, reaching for my arm. Susanne, you can't erase people from your life because of pride. We're family. I met her touch with stillness. Family isn't immunity from consequences. It's supposed to mean protection, love, respect. You gave me none of those. She froze her hand halfway between us. Susanne, Victoria said shakily, You're not the only one who struggled. You don't know how hard it was being compared to you all the time. Your grades, your company, your so-called perfect image. I cut her off quietly. Then maybe you should have been happy when you thought I had nothing. But you weren't. You still found ways to look down on me. That's not insecurity, Victoria. That's cruelty. Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice turned pleading. I was jealous, okay? You were everything I wanted to be. But you made me feel small every time you walked into a room. You didn't even have to say anything. There it was, the truth, wrapped in panic. I almost pitied her. Almost. Then this shouldn't feel so unfamiliar, I said gently. Being small. Her lip quivered. Susanne, don't do this to me. To Mom. We made mistakes, but you can't just ruin us. I'm not ruining you, I said, keeping my voice calm. I'm just stepping out of your shadow. Christine glanced up from her tablet, voice trembling. Miss Burgess, the security team is standing by for further instruction. I nodded once. Please escort them out. Mother gasped. You're serious. I'm tired, I said. Of explaining, of forgiving, of pretending. Yes, I'm serious. Michael stepped forward, polite but firm. Mrs. Hartwell, Miss Hartwell, if you'll follow me, please. Victoria turned to him in disbelief. You can't possibly expect us to walk out like criminals. Michael gave a small professional nod. Ma'am, I'm just following the owner's directive. Mother turned to me one last time. Susanne, listen to yourself. You sound heartless. My voice dropped to a whisper. I learned from the best. For a moment, none of us moved. The sound of the fountain outside filled the silence through the open terrace door as a gentle, mocking reminder of serenity. Christine's eyes glistened. Miss Burgess, I'm truly sorry. I didn't realize how difficult this must be for you. It's not difficult, I said softly. It's overdue. Victoria let out a brittle laugh, wiping her eyes. You'll regret this. One day you'll wake up and realize you destroyed your own family. Maybe, I said, but at least it'll be quiet. Mother's voice trembled. What about Thanksgiving, Christmas? Are you really planning to sit across from us after this? I'll be polite, I said. Civil. Exactly as kind as you've been to me. Michael gestured toward the doorway. Ladies. Victoria's steps faltered, her heels clicking unevenly as she moved toward the exit. Mother followed behind, silent now, her dignity crumbling like glass underfoot. Christine watched them go, her hands shaking. Miss Burgess, should I contact the property management office to confirm the final restrictions? I nodded. Yes. Flag any new bookings under their names. If they try to go through third parties, report it immediately. Christine hesitated, then said softly, Understood. When the door closed behind my mother and sister, the ballroom fell into absolute stillness. The same chandeliers that had witnessed my humiliation now sparkled above me like quiet applause. I looked toward Christine. Thank you for staying calm. You handled that with grace. She exhaled shakily. You too, Miss Burgess. Honestly, I think I'd have screamed. I gave her a faint smile. That used to be my first instinct. But screaming gives them something to answer back to. Silence gives them nothing. Her eyes softened. That's powerful. No, I said quietly, turning back toward the window. That's peace. As the late afternoon sun spilled across the ballroom, I could see my reflection faintly in the glass, steady, unshaken. For the first time in years, I looked like someone I recognized. Behind me, Christine's phone pinged one last time. All systems updated, she said softly. I nodded again. Good. Outside, beyond the manicured hedges, I could just make out the silhouette of my mother's car pulling away. Victoria's voice still carried faintly through the glass, angry, frantic, panicked. Then silence. I whispered to myself, almost without realizing, let them feel the absence they created. By the time I left Meridian Estate, the sky had begun to turn gold. The marble steps glowed in the fading light, and for the first time I didn't hurry to leave. I walked slowly, breathing in the calm that followed the storm. My phone vibrated nonstop in my bag. Calls from Victoria, from Mother, from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. Consequences should echo in silence. As I reached my car, Christine jogged after me, tablet clutched to her chest. Miss Burgess, she said breathlessly, I just wanted to say thank you for being kind. Most people in your position would have well reacted differently. I smiled, unlocking my car. I've had 6 years to learn that power doesn't need to shout. She nodded, eyes soft with understanding. The gala in December, you're still confirming that booking. Yes, I said. Increase the guest list to 600. Add the vintage wine collection and the terrace suite. Full weekend access. Christine's lips curved into a professional smile, though her voice wavered. Of course, Miss Burgess. It'll be an honor to host the Westmore Foundation again. When I drove away, the estate receded in the rearview mirror, a picture of serenity, untouched by the drama it had just witnessed. Inside, I felt strangely weightless, like I'd been carrying a burden for years, and only now realized it was gone. The city skyline rose ahead, gleaming with the lights of buildings I quietly owned. Somewhere among them, my sister was discovering that nearly every comfort she took for granted, her gym, her apartment, her boutique, even her fiancé's country club, belonged to me. I wondered if she'd ever thought about how fragile privilege really is. At home, my penthouse was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels earned. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, the view so vast it seemed endless. I poured myself a glass of wine, my phone still buzzing beside me. I flipped it face down on the counter. 10 minutes later, it rang again. "Grandma," I answered. "Hi, Grandma." "Susanne, dear," she said in her warm, lilting voice. "Your mother just called me in tears. Something about you banning her from every business in the city." I exhaled softly. "That's accurate." "Well," Grandma said after a pause, "it's about time." I laughed, surprised by the relief in her tone. "You're not angry." "Angry, no, sweetheart. Proud." Her voice softened. "I always knew you were different. I just didn't realize how much you were hiding." "I tried to tell you," I said quietly, "years ago, at Thanksgiving." "I remember," she admitted. "And I remember Victoria's tantrum that same night. Your mother said you were showing off, and I let it slide. I shouldn't have." "You don't owe me an apology." "Maybe not," Grandma said, "but I owe you acknowledgement. You didn't become cold, you became careful. There's a difference." Her words landed gently like a balm I hadn't known I needed. "She said I'm destroying the family," I murmured. Grandma gave a short, knowing laugh. "If the family falls apart because you stopped tolerating disrespect, it wasn't worth keeping." For a moment, I couldn't speak. The lump in my throat caught me off guard. "Thank you," I whispered. "Now," Grandma said briskly, her tone shifting, "about that gala of yours, am I invited?" "You're the guest of honor." "Good," she said. "I'll need a new dress. Something tasteful, preferably from a boutique your sister can't step foot in anymore." That made me laugh again. Really laugh. "I'll send you a list." "Do that. And Susanne." "Yes. I hope you know that being powerful doesn't mean you have to be lonely. You did what was necessary. But don't close the door forever. Leave it cracked just enough for remorse to find its way through." Her words lingered long after we said goodbye. Later that night, I stood at the window with my wine, watching the lights flicker across the city. My phone lit up again, unknown number. Then Derek's name, then Victoria's, then Mother's. I didn't pick up. Instead, I opened a message from my property management team. "System audit complete. All Hartwell accounts processed. Deposits refunded. Services terminated. Awaiting further instruction." I typed my reply slowly. "Maintain status, no exceptions. Continue monitoring for third-party attempts." I set my phone aside, walked barefoot across the cool marble floor, and let the stillness settle around me. Outside, the city glowed like a constellation of stories, some ending, some just beginning. Mine, at last, felt like both. For years, I had let my family's voices define my worth. I shrank myself to make them comfortable, softened my light so theirs could shine brighter. But you can't keep dimming yourself for people who refuse to see you. Power doesn't corrupt everyone. Sometimes it simply reveals who you've always been. As midnight approached, Christine's name appeared on my phone. "Contract for the gala is ready for signature, Miss Burgess. Also, it's an honor to work with you." I smiled and typed back, "Thank you, Christine. See you in December." Then I looked out over the skyline, dozens of rooftops that in some way carried my name. 12% of this city belonged to me. But for the first time, I belonged completely to myself.